President Tinubu appeals to African Union to strengthen diplomacy as primary effective means of conflict resolution in African continent. Eligible voters cast their votes to elect new leaders in Seychelles as newly elected Malawi's president promises economic reforms. Tensions rises on two diplomatic fronts. United Nations sanctions on Iran to be reimposed. President Bola Tinubu has appealed to the African Union to strengthen diplomacy as a primary and most effective means of conflict resolution on the African continent. President Tinubu, represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, made the appeal during a meeting of the African Union Peace and Security Council at the level of heads of state and government held on the margins of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
Acknowledging the role played by the EU's peace support operations, a unit designed to maintain, monitor and build peace in Africa through peacekeeping and peace enforcement missions.
Our continent must continue to maintain a blend of military.
Vice President Kashim Shettima noted that with the current UN administration and growing interest by traditional partners in conflict outside the African continent, it was becoming increasingly difficult for countries to bear the cost of peace support operations on the continent, urging the Council to ensure that the concept of future peace operations, particularly those mandated by the UN, includes diplomatic and political strategies that ultimately address the root causes of conflict.
We also urge the Council to ensure that the exit strategies of future AU PSOs include elements that ensure that national and local institutions can effectively anticipate and manage shocks and relapse multipliers.
It also provides countries a unique opportunity to strengthen their national compact in search for common grounds as they endeavor to build more peaceful, stable, and prosperous societies for all other people.
Countries that ratify the CRC and regional instruments.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has identified education as the public investment with the highest returns, saying every additional year in the school increases lifetime earnings and reduces the risks of fragility and conflict. He stated this during a high-level event organized by the Permanent Mission of Italy and Nigeria, along with global partners for education, on the margins of the ongoing 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly. The event was hosted to discuss the opportunities that investing in quality education presents to the world.
Education is a high-return public investment. Every additional year of schooling increases lifetime earnings and reduces the risk of fragility and conflict. Well-targeted education financing addresses the root causes of instability, from extreme poverty to youth unemployment.
A quality education is not only their fundamental right, but also the key to unlocking their potential. Yet, as we speak, more than 270 million children and youth are out of school.
In 2024, the Global Partnership for Education approved $1.2 billion in new grants and mobilized more than $1.5 billion in co-financing, evidence that the partnership's model works when it is funded and prioritized, as Nigeria is expanding early childhood access, improving teacher training, and investing in marginalized regions. From New York, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
The federal government, through the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, has joined global leaders at the sideline of the 80th United Nations Global Assembly in New York to announce a historic price reduction for the revolutionary HIV prevention drug. The landmark agreement unveiled at the Clinton Global Initiative 2025 annual meeting reduces the cost of the twice yearly HIV prevention injection from US $28,000 to $40 USD per person per year. Delivering Nigeria's statement at the event, the Director General of NACA, Dr. Temitokwe Ilori, observed the development will make the medicine accessible to millions across Nigeria and more than 100 low and middle income countries.
Today marks a milestone in our fight against HIV globally. Through this landmark access agreement, we are unlocking affordable access to lenacapavir, a transformational new HIV prevention option that offers longer protection, greater convenience, and renewed hope to millions at risk.
The announcement underscores Nigeria's leadership role at the hunger in shaping global health solutions and reaffirming its determination to expand access to prevention, strengthen health systems, and accelerate progress towards ending HIV as a public health threat by 2030.
The government of Nigeria is determined to expand access to effective prevention and to strengthen our health systems to accelerate progress towards ending HIV as a public health threat. We are going to do this by leveraging on strong and innovative public and private sector partnership.
Lenacapavir has been shown to be up to 100% effective in preventing new HIV infections. African leaders and health experts have met in New York at the United Nations General Assembly to discuss the future of health financing on the continent. The Vital Talks Live Forum, hosted by Vital Strategists, focused on how Africa can reduce dependence on donor aid and fund its own health systems. Speakers highlighted health taxes on tobacco, alcohol, and sugary drinks as a triple win, saving lives, cutting costs, and generating revenue for our continent. Vital Strategies President Mary Ann Etiebet called health taxes a health equity force multiplier, saying they are key to financing stronger, more resilient health systems across Africa, but stressed the need for trust. The event also launched a new health tax action guide to help governments design and defend such measures despite industry opposition. Guinea's the result of a referendum to approve a new constitution in the junta-ruled country, saying it was backed by an overwhelming majority of voters. The final tallies of 89.38% in favor and 10.62% against confirmed the provisional vote results announced. Opposition parties had called on voters to boycott last Sunday's referendum, accusing General Mamadi Doumbouya of using it to stay in power. Earlier, they had filed a request to the court to annul the result, but the request was rejected. The court's confirmation paves the way for elections to be held in December. ECOWAS launched a bold vision decades ago, free trade across borders to boost regional growth and integration. But its implementation has seen more complications than anticipated. Kelvin Ehonaye takes a look at the new initiative by the ECOWAS to clear the roadblocks on the path of the ETLs.
Launched in 1979, the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme, or ETLS, was meant to create a borderless market in West Africa, allowing goods produced within member states to move freely without tariffs or restrictions. On paper, the ETLS is one of the most ambitious trade initiatives in Africa, but the reality is more complex, resulting in a paltry 12% trade volume among member states, while its SADC counterpart trade volume stands at 23%.
Unfortunately, we don't have a real good statistic on what is trading. You know that our borders are not really, it is porous, and many, we have sometimes problem to have a good statistic because of the size of the informal trade. But we know in our region it is really a trade on it, but I can also say that there is some challenges. We are still receiving at ECOWAS level some complaint.
Despite the promise, many businesses still face long border delays, hidden charges and non-tariff barriers, while inconsistent application of ETLS rules across countries has become a major stumbling block.
It doesn't have any amount. It doesn't have any.
Like how much?
Like a 500, 1,000. We want the authority to invest.
Apart from the too many security check, what other
no other challenges.
So the major challenge here is just extortion?
Yes, extortion, yes.
The African Continental Free Trade Area, AfTA, may give ETLS a much-needed boost, but the barriers to free trade will need to be eliminated to reap the benefits. The ECOWAS Commission is now attempting to give bite to its national committees for community origin recognition to improve intra-community trade in made-in-ECOWAS goods.
ECOWAS launched what we call the e-certificate, its certificate of origin, with our new documentation, so that it will put in place a system where Benin, in our example, and Nigeria will work together. That means if you want the certificate of origin, it is the custom administration in their own system who will generate it and send the information to Benin. Benin will get the information through the system also. They will know that there is somebody who is importing a particular good from Nigeria to Benin, and they don't have any problem in terms of fraud, or maybe somebody has forged a document or forged a certificate. So it will link the two documents and it will simplify the movement of goods.
As West Africa looks to deepen integration through trade in the face of the current global trade dynamics, the success of the ETLS appears to hold the key. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
Tensions are rising on two diplomatic fronts. The United Nations sanctions on Iran will be reimposed this weekend after a failed bid to delay them, while Washington is revoking Colombian president's visa over his participation in a pro-Palestinian rally in New York. Details with Justin Bemuyi.
Global diplomacy is on edge after the UN Security Council rejected a Russian and Chinese proposal to delay the return of sanctions on Iran. Only 4 of the 15 members supported a draft, clearing the way for the measures to snap back on Saturday. Western powers say the move is necessary to hold Tehran accountable, but analysts warn it could escalate tensions in the region. Iran has already signaled that it will respond strongly, a move that could deepen confrontation with the West. Meanwhile, the United States has announced it will revoke the visa of Colombian President Gustavo Petro following his participation in a pro-Palestinian demonstration outside UN headquarters. Petro used the rally to call for the creation of a global force to liberate Palestinians and urged U.S. soldiers to ignore President Donald Trump's orders. The State Department described his actions as reckless and inflammatory. It is unclear if Petro remains in New York, as his office and Colombia's foreign ministry are yet to comment. These two developments highlight a volatile moment in international relations, with Middle East tensions rising and Washington sending a firm message to a key Latin American leader. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
Time to take a breather. More reports shortly.
Nigeria at 65, a continental giant takes another step forward, navigating the contradiction fueled by a colorful and resourcefully diverse populace, yet questions linger on the destination of state, propelled by the vagaries of nationhood. What is your contribution to this journey? Join the NTA and an eclectic mix of everything Nigerian, from the academic deans to the street kings, who will lend their voices on the platform that has always been a part of the journey. The NTA on October 1st, 2025.
Welcome back. Malawi's newly elected president, Arthur Peter Mutharika, has promised to focus on economic recovery, food security and job creation as he prepares to take up office. Justin Bemoyi reports.
Malawi has returned Arthur Peter Mutharika to power with a decisive 56.8% of the vote. The 85-year-old leader of the Democratic Progressive Party says the election season is over and it is now time for cooperation and national transformation. Addressing supporters in Blantyre, Mutharika outlined his priorities, pledging to revive the economy, ensure food security, create jobs and strengthen healthcare and education systems. He also announced plans to engage with the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank and other major global partners to tackle Malawi's economic challenges head-on.
The time for competition has ended. The time for cooperation has begun. Politics has played its part. Now the work of national transformation must take center stage.
Mutharika is expected to begin forming his cabinet in the coming days as Malawians look up to the administration for stability and growth over the next 5 years. Justin Bemoyi, NTA News.
The people of Seychelles voted Saturday to choose a new leader in parliament, with President Weville Ramkalawan seeking a second term in Africa's smallest country. Polls opened at 7 a.m. in a sign of what was expected to be a strong voter turnout in the tourist haven, where the president is elected for a 5-year term. Long lines formed at many polling stations across the country Saturday. Electoral authorities said all stations opened on time and voting was proceeding smoothly. Rakalawan, an Anglican priest who later became involved in politics, became the first opposition leader since 1976 to defeat the ruling party when he made his 6th bid for the presidency in 2020. The ruling Leon Democratic Seychelles Party campaigned on economic recovery, social development and environmental sustainability. Reports say if no contender receives more than 50% of the vote, the two top candidates go into a runoff, with just over 77,000 people are registered to vote in Seychelles. In a pivotal moment for African media diplomacy, stakeholders are being urged to adopt a more intentional and strategic approach in amplifying the continent's voice on the global stage. This call resonates at a meeting between the management of Voice of Nigeria, VON, and the deputy head of mission at the Ethiopian embassy in Abuja. Chukwunonso Nwabueze reports.
The engagement, Jibril Babandache said, is in furtherance of Voice of Nigeria's renewed drive at galvanizing African nations toward a collective partnership that will strengthen African unity, as well as counter misinformation and disinformation about the continent and its people. The Director General, while commending the role of Ethiopia in advancing peace and stability on the African continent, with an assurance of the agency's readiness to amplify the Ethiopian story to the global community, emphasized the urgency for media entities across the continent to be more proactive in highlighting Africa's achievements and potentials.
We believe that no matter what we do as nations, if we don't collectively work together and being deliberate about how our stories are told, nobody will know about those positive stories. We remain committed, we remain consistent, and we're available as a platform to work with you.
Unless the African media shape the opinions of the African countries, no country will come in and promote the interest of the African continent as a continent. So we have shared values that we need to closely work together.
Ambassador Gota Seifu also pledged to facilitate a meeting between Voice of Nigeria and the Ethiopian Broadcasting Corporation to formalize a joint partnership in content creation, capacity building, as well as exchange programs. Chukunonso Nwabweze, NTA News.
One of Nigeria's foremost voices in climate journalism from the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Charles Alpha, has emerged winner of the 2025 Climate Media Spotlight Award. Thomas Obetere reports that the honor recognizes his remarkable commitment to raising public awareness and educating Nigerians on the critical role of citizens, governments and stakeholders in confronting the escalating threat of climate change.
Climate change has become a growing crisis in Nigeria, fueled by harmful human activities such as bush burning and plastic pollution. In this critical moment, the role of the media in shaping public awareness and driving climate actions has never been more important. That's why Charles Alpha, an assistant manager of news and current affairs at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, has been honored with the 2025 Climate Media Spotlight Award for his outstanding journalism and environmental advocacy.
If my organization, NTA, did not provide me a platform for me to be able to do what I did before I was recognized, I wouldn't have been given this award today. So I want to say I remain very, very grateful.
Climate change is real, it's around us, it's living with us. The consequences are here, the challenges are everywhere. We're facing it in Nigeria, we're facing it down north, in the south, we're facing it, and different challenges across the zones. And we need people to take action.
Others at the event praised Charles Alpha and other nominated journalists for using storytelling to bridge the gap between complex climate policies and public understanding, empowering citizens to take ownership of solutions.
Go out there, speak truth about the planet to power.
The impact of climate change, how it is affecting people in different places, and how people are able as well to adapt to the issues. These are issues that media should be able to play.
You do very good reports, and when we say share it, many of you don't even put it on YouTube. You just give us raw like that, and you never can tell where your story gets to. So you must make attempts to ensure that your stories go global.
Organizers emphasized that climate change is no longer just an environmental issue, but a socio-political and economic challenge requiring stronger media involvement. The award was organized by Global Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystem Preservation, supported by Oxfam and African activists for climate justice. In Abuja, Thomas Ogbetere, NTA News.
The Nigerian Institute of Public Relations has entered into a strategic partnership with the Bureau of Public Service Reforms to boost leadership and management capacity across ministries, departments and agencies. Haman Jabani reports.
The Memorandum of Understanding seeks to reinvent, reinvigorate, reorientate and strengthen the capacity of chief executives and top management staff in the nation's public service. The initiative aims to deliver citizen-driven governance and enhance performance through improved, more effective and efficient service delivery. Signing on behalf of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, Registrar of the Council, described the project as a groundbreaking step towards reshaping the culture and perception of public service in Nigeria. He expressed optimism that the training will birth a new narrative for the civil service and instill professionalism in leadership.
The NIPR being a repository of those that manage reputations and in terms of learning and leadership, I want to, on behalf of the President and the Chairman of Council of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, convey our firm commitment to delivering on this agreement.
On his part, the Director General of the Bureau of Public Service Reforms noted that the agreement aligns with the current wave of reforms in the civil service. He emphasized that the collaboration will provide the right tools and knowledge to help public service leaders achieve the Bureau's set goals of transparency, accountability, and citizen-centered service delivery.
Together, we'll continue to demonstrate that reforms cannot be obstructed by concepts or misalignment. We're hopeful that this little contribution of ours will ensure that the President meets his commitments to Nigerians under the Renew Hope agenda.
The partnership between NIPR and BPSR is expected to serve as a catalyst for change in Nigeria's public sector, strengthening the capacity of leaders and ensure that public institutions deliver on their mandate to citizens more effectively. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
President Tinubu has approved the release of 50 billion naira in seed funding to boost food production. This coincides with the National Agricultural Seeds Council's introduction of a strategic plan for the development of the country's seed sector. Musa Baba Aliyu reports.
Section 45 of the Act establishing the Nigeria Agricultural Seeds Council mandates the creation of a dedicated fund for the seed enterprise. President Bola Tinubu has approved the release of 50 billion naira under this act to be domiciled in the Bank of Industry. The Director General of the Nigeria Agricultural Seed Council, Fatu Mohammed, stated that the approval would be a game changer for the seed subsector of the economy.
Which we are working critically with Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, the SA to the President on Food Security Coordination Unit, the FRS.
Meanwhile, the Council has reviewed and developed a strategic development plan for 2025 to 2029. The document was presented to key industry players for their input and contributions.
I hope this strategy will streamline a lot of things that will make success seed production in the country.
We will continue to do our best to ensure that Nigeria attain food security and food sovereignty by providing breeder seed of high quality that is owned indigenously by Nigerians.
The document emphasized modern and digital operations, uncompromising quality and innovation, as well as financial sustainable seed ecosystem. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has paid a glowing tribute to the late former Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Audu Innocent Ogbe, for his outstanding contributions to Nigeria's development. Delivering the president's condolence message to the family in Benue State, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, described late Audu Ogbe as a patriot and statesman whose selfless service left an indelible mark on the nation's development. President Tinubu profoundly appreciated Ogbe's contributions in various capacities, assuring the people of Benue that he lived a fulfilled life as a patriot with a remarkable legacy worthy of emulation. The late minister's son expressed profound gratitude for the support the family received after their father's demise, noting that their father had run a good race and finished his course. He added that it's their desire to imbibe his sterling legacies. The Sultan of Sokoto and Chairman National Traditional Rulers Council of Nigeria, Alhaji Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar, has visited the royal household of late Awujale of Ijebu Oba Siriki Kayode Adetona in Ijebu, Ogun State. The Sultan, who arrived southwest on Thursday for the coronation of former Oyo State Governor Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja as the 44th Olubado of Ibadan land, visited the Adetona family on the sidelines of the Ibadan royalty event. And that's the news for now. Thanks for your company. I am Mina Daniels.